walk this earth like a god.
You scared? What? You scared? What? You scared? What? Kicking in the door, I make the bitches hit the floor for keys. Yeah.
Travis got it here, and about some more boxing. Andre Ward is saying that Sergey Kovalev's power isn't going to be enough to defeat him. In other words, he's going to have enough skill to be able to defeat Andre Ward. But you know, as much skill and talent as Andre Ward has, he's a smaller fighter than Sergey Kovalev. He's been at light heavyweight for less than a year. And Sergey Kovalev got this devastating power, man. He touch you, you are hurt. Big time. Glazing blows. I mean, these guys ain't fighting the same after they get hit by Sergey Kovalev. So if Andre Ward get hit with one of those hard-ass shots from Sergey Kovalev, it just might change the fight. And Andre Ward has never been viewed as a big puncher. So is Andre Ward going to be able to hit Sergey Kovalev hard enough to keep Sergey Kovalev off of him? It's something to think about. And you know, when they started talking about making this fight, I always thought about that. You know, and John David Jackson had said something about that one time. He completely wrote Andre Ward off. Like, yeah, bring your ass up to light heavyweight and get knocked the fuck out. You know, you just try to run up on Sergey Kovalev. You're not going to be able to hit him hard enough to get him to respect you. You're going to knock your ass out. Straight up. That's what he said. That's kind of like how I feel. Like, dude, I mean, what you going to do? You going to try to lock him up, hold him and shit, smother his attack? He's not going to let you do that shit. You try to hold Sergey Kovalev, he might just keep swinging. And then what you going to do? You know, it might turn into an ugly fight. But if he just keeps swinging when you trying to hold him, he's the stronger fighter. No doubt about it. What are you going to do about that? It's going to get ugly in there. You know, I'm rooting for Andre Ward to win this fight. I am. And Sergey Kovalev is just a beast, man. Damn, devastating knockout power to the 10th level. He's one of the best punchers in the sport of boxing. It's like frightening power that he's hitting these guys with. But props to Andre Ward for taking this fight. That is a really dangerous fight for him to take. Moving up in weight, taking that fight. You know what I'm saying? If he used to defeat Sergey Kovalev, you know, pound for pound #1, you know, he would get those accolades. He already got a lot of respect for even taking the fight and taking a chance. So props to Andre Ward for taking this fight. But Andre Ward released a statement and he said, "I'm coming to win. I don't get caught up in reputations. I fought big punchers before. I'm sure whatever they're saying about his punching power is legit, but it's going to take more than that to beat me. There are different nuances. There are ebbs and flows. I'm not afraid." And that's what happens with a lot of guys. They get in there with Kovalev and freeze. And then he has a field day. But it's not going to happen in this fight. Andre Ward's statement. You better not freeze. You know, I bet a lot of those fighters didn't plan on freezing. Maybe they got hit so hard and froze. You know, John Pascal had all of the motivation in the world in that rematch. He trained for 12 hard weeks. Even came out to LA, trained with Freddie Roach. I mean, he was in amazing shape and was confident. He got hit, and it was just like he wasn't the same fighter no more. He showed heart by taking all of that punishment, but he never had a chance in that fight. He completely got destroyed. Bernard Hopkins, yeah, he was an old man. He was like 49 at that time. But Bernard Hopkins, he's still, like, with his experience, I mean, he was able to win those 2 titles. You know, 2 of those titles that Sergey Kovalev has. And he was good enough to beat those fighters to get those titles. And he's still good enough to beat a lot of light heavyweights out there. But he wasn't able to do anything with Sergey Kovalev. You know what? We can't give Bernard Hopkins credit for accomplishing what he accomplished without giving Sergey Kovalev credit for dethroning Bernard Hopkins. If we going to credit Bernard Hopkins, we got to credit Sergey Kovalev for being the one to be able to stop him. I mean, literally, he didn't stop him. He got a unanimous decision, but, you know, he took him off of the throne. You know, I've seen steel frames of Bernard Hopkins' face, and he was terrified. OG, you know what I'm saying? Bernard Hopkins. You know, the fearless old man that just never quit. You know what I'm saying? Bernard Hopkins ain't got no fear in his heart. You know what I'm saying? He's a G. And I've seen still frames of Bernard Hopkins looking terrified in that fight with his eyes real big, looking spooked. He knew what he was in, but he was good at evading Kovalev's attack and making sure he didn't really get hit with any solid punches for the rest of that fight. Like, he got hit a little bit, but as far as like just clean, hard shots, Bernard Hopkins, even at his age, was still elusive enough to make sure he didn't get cracked that hard again. But, you know, he didn't go into that fight thinking that it would be that way. He didn't plan on freezing, as what you called it. He didn't plan that shit out. It just happened. And you got a lot of fucking balls for fighting Sergey Kovalev. Dude, you facing a motherfucker that got a body. This guy is a killer. He's a killer. You know, when you fighting somebody who has ended another man's life just by boxing in a boxing ring with boxing gloves on, it take it to the next level. It's to the point where my life is in danger now. You know, it's a proven fact. I mean, every fighter that stepped foot in that ring is putting their life on the line. And props to all of the fighters that do set foot in that ring. But that's kind of like, it's not like this situation right here. You going into that ring with a fighter who has proven to have deadly power, literally. Like, this is like, I mean, Andre Ward is almost suicidal by taking this fight. He took this fight. He's going to go in there and give it his all. And a lot of people feel like Andre Ward is going to shut Sergey Kovalev out. They like, man, Kovalev don't have a chance in hell. And if you compare resumes, sure, Andre Ward does have the better resume at a lower weight. But, you know, it's a lot of fighters that don't want to go to a higher weight because they know that it's going to make a difference in the fight. That power that you had at that lower weight isn't going to be the same at the higher weight. And Andre Ward, he's not really known as, he's never been known as the most powerful puncher, but his punches is going to be like, you know, it's not even going to be as hard as what they was at 168, where he wasn't really known as a big power puncher. So how are you going to slow down Sergey Kovalev? How? You know, Andre Ward hasn't really looked like the same fighter since he came back. They say time is the biggest killer in all of boxing. And it is. It's 100% effective. Time is going to get you eventually, sooner or later. It gets everybody. Everybody gets old. You took those 2 years off while you was in court with your promoter. Andre Ward has had 3 comeback fights, 2 at 175 and 1 at 172. Now, he should be used to this weight by now. But it's like he's missing a step. He doesn't look as sharp as he used to. He's not really on the balls of his foot like he used to. His footwork isn't as fast as it used to be. He's not as accurate as he used to be. Not as fast as he used to be. But you can kind of, you know, say that that's because he's at a higher weight, but still, he doesn't look like the fighter that he used to be before that long layoff. We've seen it happening to a lot of fighters who took time off. I mean, how many years did Mike Tyson take off? Maybe 4 or more. I don't know. When he went to prison, he came back. He was good enough to be successful, but he still wasn't the old Mike. He was like the new Mike, but the new Mike that was good, but not as good as the 80s Mike Tyson. So, I mean, if Andre Ward go in there, I mean, this is a really, really intriguing fight. You know, all bullshit aside, A side, B side, big star, little star, you don't deserve this, fuck you, you don't deserve that, all of that shit to the side. This is like a classic matchup right here. 2 undefeated top pound for pound fighters stepping in there and fighting to prove who's the best. It's going to be an interesting one. And I can't wait to see it. I'm Travis Gotti. Thank you for tuning in to Travis Gotti Boxing. Subscribe.
I gotta quit fucking with you.